Not all anime are created equally. Some define an era. Some are just pretty good. And some, well, they make you wonder why you even press play. But why? What separates the best from the rest? We've all experienced those shows that grip us completely, and those that barely hold our attention. But what really defines the difference between an enjoyable anime and one that stands the test of time? A good show is enjoyable to watch. You might even have some reactions such as, wow, this fight is awesome, or I wonder what's gonna happen next. There will also be moments where you might get a little bored. Perhaps you'll slowly drift off and look at your phone. A masterpiece show has you grip. You become immersed. The fact is, when the closing credits start playing, you assume it's playing early for some extra moments to appear at the end. But when you tap your screen or move the mouse, you see that bar is almost at the end. You've only got the credits. A masterpiece will put you into a flow state. A flow state in positive psychology, also known colloquially as being in the zone or locked in, is the mental state in which a person performing some activity is fully immersed in the feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment in the process of the activity. Why does entering a flow state matter? Professional athletes strive to have their own pre-plans on how to enter a flow state for short bursts of time. In gaming, have you ever found yourself just clicking heads or just always knowing what to do, like it's natural? That's entering the flow state. If you slip into the flow state from forgetting about the time or finding yourself just actively binge watching a show, thinking about what's going to happen next, or pausing to guess the plot points, this might be an anime that you perceive as a masterpiece. But what makes something a bad anime? People will throw out arguments such as, but not limited to, it's generic, it's an unoriginal story, it follows tropes, the characters are bland or one-dimensional, that there's no character development, that there's plot armor, or it feels like there's no real repercussions for actions. Characters feel like they're playing almost a power fantasy. Things feel very predictable, the artwork feels bland or stale. The animation is stilted, or it feels kind of like a PowerPoint presentation. For some, it's overly creepy or sexual in nature without any rhyme or reason. All of these are valid, but most of them boil down to you're bored. You've seen it before and it's not doing anything new. If it feels like a retelling, but worse, it's pretty obvious that if this new idea that you've just put a vague alternative way to get powers or into an isekai, but after that, it's the exact same. What's the point? But bad, more than anything, is boring. It doesn't breed a positive emotion. And when you watch something bad, you would rather be doing almost anything else. But every once in a while, an anime is so bad that instead of turning it off, you just can't look away. We'll get onto that later when I talk about some of my guilty pleasures. Anime, like all forms of media, comes down to taste and subjectivity. And what might be a good show for you might be a bad show for me. Personally, I enjoy watching slice of life romance shows. But if that's not your type of show, it's going to be a lot less enjoyable. I speak on this as a lot of conversations around anime and what makes a good show or people's definitions of a good show range drastically. A younger fan who's only seen like 50 animes might think a particular show is groundbreaking, while an older fan who's seen anime evolve for decades might just see it as another take on a familiar formula. Taste, at the end, is subjective. However, there is a general reason why when you hear about a game or an anime or listen to someone reviewing something, you'll latch onto a score at the end. It's a binary way of understanding a person's thoughts on a show. This is only something you're really able to understand if you read or listen or watch them for a long period of time. An example for myself is the YouTuber, The Cosmonaut Variety Hour. I agree and connect with a lot of their perspectives on taste and opinions on media, but that doesn't mean I'm ride or die. To the contrary, they might have disliked Arcane Season 2 for their own reasons. I disagree, and that's it. Over time, you start to really understand a critic's taste, where you agree, where you don't, and how much weight their opinion holds for you. While opposite to this is looking at an aggregator website such as Metacritic or OpenCritic, or even community reviews like MyAnimeList will lead you to this binary collective, almost hive mind thinking of an objective enjoyment of a piece of anime. That doesn't mean it's right, but Frieren Beyond Journey's End is currently the highest rated anime on MyAnimeList, with a score of 9.31 from 593,183 users at the time of writing. In my eyes, it is objectively, if you think about all things critically, one of the greatest stories ever told through the medium of anime. It stands as one of the best anime of the past decade, and it will go down in history as a touchstone for new and old fans, a timeless example of what a true magnum opus looks like. But there will be some out there that this just wasn't for them. Are they wrong? Well, we might disagree, but unlike any entertainment, while a majority might say it's perfect, for some, it's not a tale for them. And history has proved that even critics don't always get it right. Just look at the 1980s The Shining. At the time, it released to lukewarm reception, and it even received 2 Razzie nomination awards for Worst Director and Worst Actress. However, we all now understand that it went from a cult classic to a beloved and well-respected in all aspects, that film students and general horror fans hold in very high regard. It's rare, but you see this far more commonly in gaming and anime, where critics are less favorable or forgiving. With the subjective of entertainment, there is always going to be some grey areas. We've all seen this happen. A show or movie is so disastrous that somehow it turns into a masterpiece of its, well, own kind. You don't respect it, but you love it. And there's one movie that defines this phenomenon more than any. It's The Room. Tommy Wiseau made something so bad that it became something that countless around the world watch on a monthly basis. It's so bad, it's good. That doesn't mean in any sense of objective good, but you find enjoyment from it. And that's a shared experience that was once laughed at is now something we laugh with. An anime can be just as ridiculous. My pick for this would be High School of the Dead. It takes it to just a whole new level. The story, it's barely there. The physics, non-existent. The fan service, out of control. And yet, it's just somehow, it's kind of amazing in the dumbest way possible. For this video, watching back moments and a few episodes almost transported me back to my 15-year-old self. I was the perfect age for a show like High School of the Dead, but even now at 30, I still have the same shit-eating grin. God, it's awful in all the right ways, and I love it. There is a clear distinction between enjoying yourself, though, and something being good. At the end of the day, anime is a deeply personal experience. Whether something is good, bad, or a masterpiece isn't just about the reviews or tropes, it's about what it makes you feel. Some shows will be technically brilliant, but they just won't click with you, while others might be flawed, but unforgettable. And that's the beauty of anime. No matter what the critics or the score says, there's always something out there that speaks to you. So what show has connected to you on a deeper level? Good, bad? While I personally think it's better to have an emotion after watching something than to be numb or to forget the moments right after watching. Now that's a 4 out of 10 you'll never watch again. But with that all said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.